It is Wednesday night happy hour, and this is If You Drink on our brand new time of 8 p.m. Eastern. And you may wonder why we moved it up an hour. Well, this is why. We wanted to be able to capture everybody across the country during a happy hour time, and 7 o'clock was just a little bit too early for my friends on the West Coast. A lot of them have tried to join in, and it's 4 o'clock there, so they didn't quite make it. But now it'll put it East Coast time at 5 o'clock, so we'll be able to catch a lot more people, and people actually a lot of times don't even tune in until about 7:20, 7:30, and sometimes I'm wrapping up the show at that time. So that's why we changed the time slot. So this week, what do we have going on this week? It's not terribly exciting. I haven't been traveling for once, but I'm likely going to hit the road again to go up to Columbus, Ohio, meeting with my dream team up there. As many of you know, I'm a yoga teacher that teaches trauma yoga to vets, but I don't teach it in the traditional way. I teach it in the soldier mindset way. The soldier mindset way is I take you back to what it's like to be in boot camp. Hey, Dean, how's it going? And I yell and scream at you and curse at you and make you feel like you're, back in boot camp, like a piece of shit that they make you feel like. And then gradually I build up your confidence, take you through a mission, and we complete the mission through the yoga class, and you don't even know you're doing yoga. So there's one layer to that we needed to add. As I traveled across the country this last summer, the one thing is that I kept meeting vets that were either older or they had injuries that they could not do the full yoga classes. So with the help of my new dream team in Columbus, Ohio, I've got former assistant coach on the Ohio State wrestling team, UFC coach George Pardoza, owner of the station. I've got Olympian Russ Heckelson, who is also the head coach of Ohio State. I've got some UFC fighters helping me out. They are my dream team to add in this new layer that we're putting on so that all veterans, no matter what your physical limitations are from injuries from service, are going to be able to participate in these classes. And then we're looking at taking it into first an inpatient rehabilitation center to test on vets to see, what they think of their program, to see if it's helping them physically and mentally. So I'm really, really excited about that. Matt Brown, the immortal UFC fighter, if you guys have ever heard of him, great guy. I was hanging out at his house last month, telling him about the program. He has a gym in Columbus, and he's like, hey, you should come teach in my gym. So hopefully this next month I'll get to go hang out at his gym and show the guys a little bit about what we're doing. We're combining some traditional wrestling moves that you would see in traditional college, Olympics, high school, all that stuff, and some MMA stuff. We're combining that with some yoga and creating some new sequences. So it's very, very exciting, and it's nothing that anybody else has ever seen. So that's why George and I are very excited about it, and we're teaming up for that. So other than that, I finished graduate term last week, 98% for this girl right here in my very hardest class that I had this term. I struggled a little bit with it, but guess what? My professor was a veteran, and he was cool as hell. And he said, you know what? All I care about is seeing that you progressed during the term. I'm not going to nail you on everything, which APA was always my weakest thing, as many students, that's their weakest thing. He said, I just want to see you progress. And I was like, you know what? I can tell you were in the military, because that's what a true leader does, right? They just want to see you progress. So I was very happy to get this semester over with. Other things going on. Well, I've discovered Yellowstone. I'm originally from Wyoming, right outside of Yellowstone National Park. I grew up there. Most of my family actually still lives there. And I had my doubts about Yellowstone. Hey, John, of whether they're going to be able to capture the authentic feel of what it is like to live in Wyoming, Montana area. And so, I don't know, I just kind of put off watching it. Finally, my boyfriend was like, you got to watch it. It's like Sons of Anarchy with cowboys. Oh my God. He was totally, totally right. Hey, Gene. I am absolutely obsessed with watching Yellowstone now. I love it, love it, love it. And it really did bring up some really important points of what it's like to live in Wyoming and Montana with everything, all the industries that have come in there and just completely taken over. I remember being, a young teenager working in Jackson Hole, where, you know, there'd be 5, 6, 7 of us, you know, renting out a condo so that we could snowboard in the winter, you know, hang out summers, go hiking, do all that cool stuff. And now, the last time I was back there, I looked at the exact same condo that we had, and it was about 5 times as expensive as it was when we were there. Unfortunately, there's not even millionaires in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. There's billionaires. And they have second and third homes, and they've pushed out all the locals that grew up there. And they all have to move down this canyon and drive through extremely dangerous roads that take 45 minutes to an hour to get to service jobs. Yellowstone, the TV show, really has captured what that looks like and what they're trying to prevent. And I commend the show for that they're trying so hard to show how that they need to preserve the lands that we still have. Because growing up in the mountains, growing up near the Tetons, I cannot tell you what a blessing that is. You don't realize it when you're a kid, but every time I go back and I come through this canyon from my daughter's house in central Wyoming, I come to this canyon called Togety. At the end of that canyon, it just opens up wide, and all of a sudden the Grand Tetons are right there in all their glory. And it is one of the best and most beautiful views I've ever seen. It takes my breath away every single time I go there, and I grew up there. So that's my new thing. There was a character in there I wasn't real crazy about. I told my boyfriend, God, that lady is such a bitch. I hate her. But her name is Beth in the show, but she's starting to grow on me. She's starting to grow on me. I love all the characters and the plot lines and everything like that. It keeps it real, keeps it exciting. So I'm excited to see what the future of that program is. Let's see what else is going on. So what did everybody have for dinner? I'm curious. I just finished dinner. I am a very un-American, I guess, when I eat. I don't eat a lot of steak, meat, and potatoes because I grew up on it in Wyoming. We had steak or fish, venison, elk, all that every single meal. So when I became adult, I really tried, when I started to travel, I really tried to start trying new foods, and I was eating, you know, a lot of Asian foods. Now, I'm not talking about Chinese. I'm talking like Japanese, Thai, Laotian, Indian, all that stuff is my absolute favorite food. And what's really strange is that I can go and spend a ton of money at places like World Market or the big foreign stores that have foods from all over the world. But you know where some of the best Indian food is? Walmart. Who knew? They've actually got these mixtures of different kinds of curry that you can like put in and be done in like 5 minutes. And they are by far much more tasty and much more authentic tasting than anything that I've gotten at any of the so-called stores that exclusively sell that stuff. So that's what I eat a lot. And when I was in Afghanistan, we had a bunch of Terps from India, a couple from Pakistan. My main Terp was Pakistani, and he knew that I loved naan bread. So he would find a local outside the camp, and they would make naan bread for me. And when it was ready, they would throw a rock on top of our building and hit this tin roof to let us know that they were there. And then I would have like a stock of naan bread for the week. And the interpreters, you know, when we were in downtime, when we weren't doing missions, they would have these huge, huge dinners they would invite us to. And I remember the first time that I got drunk in Afghanistan, we weren't supposed to be drinking, and I had been really good till then, but man, we worked our ass off, and I just wanted a beer. And so I went had a beer with the team. Well, all of a sudden they're pulling out all this other stuff, and I'm like, well, hell, I guess I'll drink that and drink that. Well, being doing a dumb teenager thing, even though I was an adult woman, was drinking all kinds of mixed stuff that I knew didn't go together and was not going to go well for me later on. And I don't know if you guys all know, well, I'm sure you guys all know Rob McNeil, the guy that got Osama bin Laden. He used to be my workout partner, and he was giving me like black velvet that night, and we were having a good time. And then he thought it was a good idea to pick me up and throw me over his shoulder and spin me round and round. And I was yelling for him to put me down. Oh my God, put me down, put me down. And instantly, oh my God, I was like, I'm going to puke, Rob. He got me to the door. I puked all over the stairs of the team hut. He got me to the bathroom. I puked all over their bathroom. Got done with that. He cleaned me up and he took me back to my hut, and he was such a gentleman, and he made sure that I was okay. And he was such a great guy. We worked out every day together, and he's the one that introduced me to P90X and CrossFit. And I've kind of used some of those same concepts in designing some of my programs. So I haven't seen Rob since we were deployed together back in 2009, but looks like he's doing great stuff. He's opening up a new brewing company that you can buy stock and share in, something I'm actually looking into. So I miss all those guys. I miss all those guys that I served with, because they were really cool guys. You know, they were all American guys. They're EOD guy. I came over, like I said, after 5 months and had a beer with them, and he walked up to me, this cowboy from Texas, and he said, "You know what? You're okay. You use really big words, but you're all right." So I took that as a big compliment coming from him. But enough about me. It's Vet Week. That means you guys can hop on with me, right? So I'm gonna post the what am I trying to say here? Link in the comment section. I'm also going to post it to my personal Facebook page and trying to get some people on here. I need somebody to come on camera with me. Dude shot Obama bin Laden with Prada sunglasses in his pocket. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Oh, the link is in the comment section if anybody wants to jump on with me and hang out and have a drink. Tell me about your week. Tell me about your holidays. Tell me about whatever you want to talk about. I'm here for the next little while, and all of a sudden I discovered that it's very hot in my RV for some reason. It probably is this light that I have. I've actually moved from my table in the RV because it's so shaky. I don't know why it just keeps getting looser and looser. So every time I use it, and I put my hand on the table at all, it shakes like the whole camera. So I changed rooms. Give me just a second while I type this up on my personal page to post a link. Click the link. So hopefully we get somebody to come on tonight. What's up? We all had the Rona and just got out of quarantine yesterday. Oh, Lord. That's right. I remember seeing that you guys had the Rona. That sucks. Terrell says, what Sammy didn't have a practice tonight, so we could catch us. So awesome. Glad you're here. So glad to have you, Terrell. You know, Dean, I think I've had it like 3 times now. So I remember before anything was released, I got sick. It just knocked me on my ass around Christmas of 2019. Even after I was able to get out of bed for a week, I still, a week after being able to actually walk, you know, could barely eat or do anything. Then in March of 2020, I got sick again, and I had every single symptom that they had said. And I went to the VA hospital, and they had this isolated space in the back with like no bathrooms. I was there, no shit, for like 3 or 4 hours, nowhere to go to the bathroom. They had just put an IV in my hand. I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. And they're like, well, we can't let you in the main hospital. I'm like, well, where am I supposed to go? With an open IV in my hand, they sent me outside of the main hospital to an outhouse. I was like, ugh, okay, yeah, this is our level of care here. I tested positive for that, but at that time, I tested negative, but at that time was a 30% chance that the testing was wrong. I had every single symptom. Positive, I had it. Traveled all over the place, never had it again. And then I got to Florida, and I got sick, really sick, shortly after I got here. I don't think it was it, but what's weird is I had this thing that a lot of people have said that they've had from the latest strain or whatever, is hair loss. It may look like I have a lot of hair, but 2 months ago, I had twice as much hair. No shit, I have lost so much hair. It is insane. Yeah, Dean. Yeah, very sanitary. I just looked at the nurse like, you're going to make me go to the outhouse with an open IV in my hand. Wow. So yeah, that's VA care for you. But Yeah, it's been kind of crazy that I lost all this hair. I was just losing like clumps of it, and it freaked me the hell out. And that's why I haven't colored it. That's why I've got all this gray coming in, because I'm like scared to chemically do anything to it at all. And I mean, it sucked, but it was like the flu. I've been that sick with the flu. I was I had just started graduate school at Purdue, and I was in epidemiology class when all this stuff went down with COVID. And the one thing, and I've said this a couple times, even though the professors kept saying, "Oh, this was natural, it wasn't man-made," blah 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 blah. Everything about it was making me think that it was a very targeted virus, that it was engineered to do certain things. It's something that they had never seen, so it wasn't acting natural. And I still believe that, whether it was let out accidentally or on purpose, who knows. But right now, I can say I know it's affecting people that are older, that have other things going on. But for me, really, it was just a really shitty flu. But I hope you guys are feeling better, Dean. I think you said your wife got it too, right? Yeah, the thing that made me think it was a weapon for sure is when they told us, number one, it was targeting certain blood types, and number two, the thing that was accelerating it was ibuprofen. What is the number one prescription given to veterans and active duty for anything? For a sniffle, to a migraine, to a broken leg, what do they give us? They give us ibuprofen. And that, I mean, look, an entire ship was taken out with it. Do you guys remember that? Like an entire carrier was taken out. 3 out of 4. Yeah. Yeah. At the time, it was targeting A blood types more than anybody. It was, well, I would say it was fatal to A blood types back when this first got out. And I don't know. There's just too many things about it. We had this discussion last week, and I got maybe a little bit too into the discussion that, a lot of us believe that they do this stuff to distract us from other things that are going on. And some other things that I've noticed going on, if you live in New Mexico, there are some pretty crazy things that go on in New Mexico that don't make the national news. And if anybody remembers what happened in New Mexico all those many years ago in 47, now we have Navy pilots coming out, going on like podcasts like Joe Rogan, talking about they see UFOs so often that they now have to get briefed in them before they ever even get in the plane, because there's a very high chance that they're going to run into them. We have scientists coming out talking about it. We now have Space Force in the last couple years. Why on earth would you need a military branch called Space Force unless you thought there was a threat from space? And something that happened pretty crazy a couple years ago in New Mexico, I think it was around 2019, is that one of the secret areas that they test weapons there is a solar observatory right over that weapons area. And out of nowhere, literally helicopters dropped down, a bunch of guys in black, took over the entire observatory as well as the surrounding town and closed it down for 2 weeks. Didn't even tell the sheriff what was going on. The sheriff was on local New Mexico news saying, I have no idea what's going on. I wouldn't tell them anything. And 2 weeks later, they reopened the town, and they said the janitor got caught with porn on his computer in the basement. And that's why they shut down the entire town for 2 weeks with no explanation. I call bullshit. I went there right after this happened with my son to go check out the solar observatory because he knew the story too. Guess what? That solar observatory was one of 6 in the world. It had been there forever. All of a sudden, it was completely empty. There was nobody around but one scientist that was basically packing boxes and one retail clerk in the merch store. And we're like, so where's everybody at? And he's like, oh, they moved to Hawaii. I'm like, they suddenly just moved the entire solar observatory to Hawaii? He's like, yeah. And he didn't really go into details other than that. And then the lady that was selling merchandise in their little store, they had these little alien stickers up front, and I picked one up. Didn't say anything to her. She's like, oh, I bet you heard about that story about aliens or something here. And I was like, just looked at her, and she's like, oh, you know that's not true, right? I was like, yeah, okay. So I just paid for my stuff and left. It was a very weird experience. But, shortly after all this shit started happening with Corona and the virus and all this other ridiculous shit that's happening in our government right now. So, I don't know. I'm just saying, timing, distraction, you got this, worldwide pandemic to close things down. They get all this other stuff that's going on that they put out all of a sudden and they unclassify, but nobody notices because they're too damn worried about all the other shit from the pandemic. So, who knows? I don't know. But hey, Jeff, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. So yeah, I'm hoping this new time works out. I was, there's so much to content and podcasting and all this stuff that you really have to be watching out for. The best times to post your shows, to run reruns, to run ads, all that stuff. And I tell you what, it's kind of exhausting, honestly. Why I moved the show is I noticed that a lot of people weren't coming on until about 7:30-ish. And a lot of times I'm wrapping up right then. And when I went to go post, if you have a business page on Facebook, you have a business suite where you can actually schedule your posts out. So I had scheduled a story post for the show a couple weeks ago, and it gave me a suggestion saying the best time slot for your show is 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. So I hit the owner of the radio station up, was like, you know what, I want to move my show to 8. He's like, go for it. So I just think this time works better. Hopefully my friends from California can jump on because I miss them dearly and I don't get to hang out with them very much. I have these really awesome friends. One of them is a veteran. The other is a Gold Star mom. And he was also a firefighter. His name is Tommy Anderson. And he started writing screenplays. And all of a sudden, just like his screenplays, every single one of them he put out are just on fire. They are literally winning awards around the world. He's winning so many awards that I told him every time that you win an award, we're all going to have a drink and we're going to be drunk by noon. Because this guy, everything he writes just completely takes off. And so check him out, Tom Anderson. He's won multiple awards for all of his stuff. He's got multiple films coming out. He does one, a lot of stuff specifically for veterans. He's got, I've got a couple of his books here. He's also a writer. He's a #1 bookseller. His latest one he's working on is called The Broken Road. And he sent me the short screenplay before he actually sent it out. And it's about a veteran in equine therapy, which is really cool because I'm about to go head to a ranch that we're partnering up with Mending Fences in Ocala, Florida. And if y'all didn't know, Kentucky is not the #1 place for horse racing in the world. Ocala, Florida is. And they have a horse rehabilitation ranch for race horses that they turned into a human rehabilitation ranch. And they have a lot of veterans that go there. The VA actually will pay for you to go to this ranch. It's a 500-acre ranch. They have all kinds of cool therapy, not just equine therapy with the horses. They've got music therapy. They've got an actual recording studio in there. So you can write your music and then record it and keep it. They've got a yoga teacher there. They've got, what else? The cognitive behavioral therapy, but they also have the eye therapy. Have you guys ever heard of this? I think it's called EMDR. It's eye movement desensitization. Basically, when you go through exposure therapy and you have to talk about your trauma, as you're speaking about it, the therapist will tell your eyes, look left, look right, look up, look down, and they'll keep directing your eyes while you're going through it. And for some reason, that changes your memory of it. And what's great about exposure therapy is it's hard as hell to talk about. What's really great about it is if you keep talking about it, if you keep writing about it, pretty soon it's just a memory and the emotion is detached. That was my experience with exposure therapy. It was really hard to have to journal about it every single day and then get up in front of a group of people and walk them through my trauma, one of the worst days of my life, over and over and over again. But for that one memory, I have no more fear. I remember it, but I have no more fear about it. And the thing with veterans, though, is they don't always want to talk, right? Like this show Yellowstone, for example. I hated this Beth character when I first started. Hated her. As the story went on, I learned why she was so damn angry and why she was being such a bitch. And then she started to grow on me. This is the case with a lot of veterans that I meet. A lot of veterans you meet are really harsh when you first meet them. They're kind of ornery. They're hard to get, to talk. They're hard to get into any conversation. But once you learn their stories, and that's what's great about something called the Warriors curriculum through Crosswinds Foundation is that they teach the families what to look out for the veterans. And they're actually filming a documentary right now for the Warriors family of what it's like from the family perspective. So they actually teach the veteran effective ways to deal with PTSD and moral injury, but they're also teaching the families what it is, what to look for and how to deal with it when they see it. And I think that is incredibly, incredibly important. I've dated a couple special forces guys. One of them was in a very elite unit that not many people even know about. And he got out because he could not deal with the things that he had to do. But he was so good that they kept recalling him back over and over again. And it just tore him up. And I remember one Thanksgiving, he said he was too sick to go to Thanksgiving at our friends. And I was a little bit miffed. I was kind of pissed. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll go without you. Gone, I don't know, 4 hours, came back home and he was completely wasted, drunk. And I was like, what the hell? I thought you were sick. Well, here's what I didn't know. I was pissed off because he didn't go to Thanksgiving dinner without even taking the time to think about why he may not want to go to Thanksgiving dinner. The reason that he didn't want to go when he opened up to me that night was he told me that they had been on a mission on Thanksgiving Day and they were ambushed. And right in front of him, his best friend was killed right in front of him. And he said, that is why I don't want to celebrate Thanksgiving. There's a saying going around on Facebook about veterans and holidays and why they may not always be keen to celebrate those holidays because some of the things that they've seen, survivor's guilt, seeing people in third world countries with, no running water, no food, no shelter, not anything like we have here. Once you see those things, once you experience those things, even if you don't have someone you served with that died, being in those countries changes you. It changes your perspective on a lot of different things. And we don't take things for granted. So I think that's really important to understand with veterans. If your families don't understand why you're acting, communicate with them. Let them know why you may not want to go to this dinner or hang out with friends, or you just need to be left alone. Even if it's not the holidays, if you need your time alone, what I actually ended up doing with his ex-boyfriend, we lived together at the time, is we had this extra room in the house. My daughter had just moved out. I said, take that room. I made it look exactly like his old apartment. That when he needed a moment, he could just go back to that room and hang out and be left alone. It was kind of a man cave, but it really was just his space to go. When he got into those funks, I knew to leave him alone and just let him. And when he was ready to talk, we would talk. And even though our relationship ended, I will have to say that I really bent over backwards for that guy. I'm really happy to say that he went through therapy. He actually ended up in the psych ward. And it helped him. He was there for 7 days. He had multiple suicide attempts in our house. I had to rush him to the ER and the VA. They wouldn't help us. Finally, he checked himself in. I helped him get a job at the VA. And now this guy that was once a millionaire and lost everything and is only on a government salary now is the happiest person in the world. And he came up a couple years later and we ran into each other at the federal building. And he said, I just want to thank you for everything that you did. I'm making shit pay right now, but I'll tell you what, I'm happy. So, we have to try to understand why people are the way that they are. Carol, LeBron got COVID. He did. He got something from China that wasn't made by slaves. Yeah. Yeah. I saw there's a couple things going on with LeBron this week. So, first of all, he got some fans expelled. But what they said, I have to say, if they actually did threaten his child, you know, I would do the same thing and get him kicked out. But one thing that LeBron did is I saw him clock. I don't even remember who the player was. I saw him clock another player. Another player was guarding him like he was supposed to. And it panned to the camera, and LeBron just like went and just freaking clocked this guy. This other basketball player was so mad. I mean, they had like 10 people trying to hold him back and keep him off LeBron. LeBron is cocky. He is. Yeah, he's a great player, but you know, I don't know. I was married to a college basketball player. They are cocky as fuck. But you know, at some point, it's like, you know, be a man, be a decent human. There's no reason that you have to act like there's definitely no reason that you have to freaking bloody somebody up during a game. If you got game, then play it. Don't hurt somebody to play the game. Unless it's hockey, of course. Just says, TBH, holidays were often not a celebration, purposely in service. Habit kind of now. Yeah. You know, I used to be huge into the holidays, I think, you know, because I had little kids at home. And I always wanted to make it nice for him. And my youngest has suffered the last couple of years because I have just run out of Christmas spirit. I just stopped decorating for all the holidays. I just didn't get into them that much. I spent my first Christmas alone a couple of years, and that was probably one of the roughest days I've ever had. But this year, I'm a little more back into it. You know, want to spend it with family. Kind of got the spirit back a little bit more this year. But yeah, sometimes you don't feel like celebrating, and that's okay. And I stayed on last week a little bit longer because it was the night before Thanksgiving, and I wanted to make sure that if anybody needed to talk, they could. You know, I didn't do anything for Thanksgiving last year. I chose to go out and spend my daughter's birthday with her instead, which was the week before, which, you know, I'm cool for. You know, we get, I don't want to say use the word trapped, but yeah, we get trapped by expectations of what we need to do, and we run ourselves into the ground trying to make these holidays perfect. And to me, it's so much work and so much time and money that we actually miss out on hanging out with our families. And the best holidays I ever had were when my family actually got along. And I'm bringing up Yellowstone again because this is my life. That was my family. My grandfather owned almost an entire town, but he didn't leave a will when he passed away. So all the children fought over this. They finally settled it, and they still all hated each other so much that we never had a family Thanksgiving or Christmas again. And, you know, people are just coming in and buying up property as fast as they can to live a simple life, when really they're not living a simple life at all. They are so consumed by perfection and keeping up with everything that they're actually missing out on life. And so I think that that's really sad. But I've also kind of learned, I've also told my sister not to buy me presents anymore for my birthday or Christmas. I'm like, you know what, donate some money to an organization. For my daughter this year, I'm not so much buying gifts as I want to buy her an experience. So when she comes to Florida, you know, I want to take her kayaking with manatees. I want to take her possibly down to the Keys to the Dolphin Research Center. I want to take her to Harry Potter Land. You know, I want her to have memories as gifts and not necessarily objects, because she's got plenty of those. Her dad spoils her rotten. He said, I just started watching on season 4. I'm on season 3. I just started this last weekend too. And I was just completely taken in. It makes me miss home so much. That's what it looks like where I grew up, and I had no idea what I had. But the funny thing is, you never see any snow. 3 seasons in, I haven't seen any snow. We are lucky in the Yellowstone area if we get 3 months of summer. Lucky. A lot of times it will snow in June and even the 4th of July. Normally, when I go back home to the Yellowstone area, I wait until July or August because I don't want to get caught in a snowstorm. It's cold there. It's very cold. It might get up to 75, 80 if you're lucky in the summertime. I remember when I was 8 months pregnant, I was working at a gas station. In the middle of the winter, 60 degree below zero wind chill. I was out like checking tanks, or getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when it was still dark and going and changing pipe, the old school pipe, not the ones you roll, the old school ones where you're soaking wet, or getting up to feed cattle or whatever. Now, did I do that every day? No, I didn't. My mom moved away from the ranch when my grandfather died, but anytime that I got to do that, even though I complained, I actually really loved it. I really loved being on the ranch. I loved being around the animals. I love once I'm out of bed, I love morning. I love seeing the sun come up. There's nothing like it on Earth, especially if you're doing it in the mountains. And I hope to get back to that someday. And somewhere that I found that's very similar to Wyoming is Tennessee. The people in Tennessee are incredible, very generous, very sincere, very genuine. When they ask you how you are, they actually want to know how you are. Amazing food, patriots there, an absolutely beautiful landscape. I mean, just incredible. Central Tennessee and Eastern Tennessee is off the charts. The Smoky Mountains, it was crazy when I went to Cades Cove in the Smoky Mountains. I went there early in the morning and I was like, wow, this looks just like home. And so that's my plan at some point, is to get up to Tennessee and build a little house. Maybe not Yellowstone big, but similar to that, where, we can have horses and just live a nice, peaceful life. So, Jeff, what have you been up to? Are you still in the San Francisco area? Hey, Michelle. Michelle, I'm coming to see you again. And I was actually just going to hit John up tonight and ask him a question because I wanted to bring you something when I came up. But I might be up there again next week. Michelle is the wife of one of our other podcast hosts, Minnie, that does the bar and sports church. And she's an awesome, awesome lady. I love hanging out with her. I was telling my boyfriend about you today, actually. And he's like, I said something about, oh, she's this cool hippie chick. And he's like, well, then you all got along just great, didn't you? I was like, hell yeah, we did. So she's really cool. Love hanging out with her. Love having conversations with her and John. They're just such good people. And Ohio is not any place I ever thought that I would like, but I actually had a good time when I was there. John went to bed early, huh? He's pretty tuckered out. Yeah, he was usually up pretty late. But not much going on here. Think what else I got to do this week. Just really wrapping stuff up for this program. I'm trying to get this thing straight and trying to get the next year my life planned out. Grad school is nailing me down for about 5 months for clinical, so I need to decide where the hell I'm going to live. San Francisco Bay, going to LA concert, Disneyland, then back, surgery a week. Well, I hope your surgery goes well, Jeff. Hope it's nothing too serious at all. I haven't been to Disneyland for quite a while. We're going to try to go to Disney World since I'm so close to Orlando. Maybe not Disney World, definitely Harry Potter Land and Star Wars. I definitely want to hit those for sure. We tried to go to Disneyland when we were in California this summer, but with COVID, it was such a hassle to try to even get registered. To buy a ticket. We just decided, whatever. I'm not going to do it. You too, yeah. Is Julie on here? I didn't see her pop in. Hey, Julie, how's it going? So Julie is a viewer on a couple of our different shows, and she's funny as hell, and I love to have her on and love to see her interactions and everything on here. But, something I got to ask you is, you guys are all avid viewers. We're trying to bump up followers and likes and all that stuff because, as I said, all those analytics matter to us in what we're doing and trying to get out shows and resources to vets. So if you guys, even though viewers, if you haven't, gone on and liked or followed our page, please do that. And please share it out to other people because we are bringing on more and more shows that are not just for entertainment, but they're providing resources. We have a new coffee show coming on from RPG Coffee. We've got a mortgage program show going on for Warriors Wallet that lets veterans know all the things that are available to them to buy a home. Oh, no worries, Dane. And we have a couple other coming on. I can't remember all of them. We just had a meeting about these, but we have a lot coming on that will give you guys information on how to access a lot of VA benefits, because a lot of VA benefits I had no idea I was even eligible for, honestly. The VA did kind of hound me when I got back from Afghanistan. That is one of the reasons I knew to sign up for care, but I had no idea about disability or vocational rehabilitation center or employment programs or any of that stuff until a Marine got a hold of me and he's like, "You haven't signed up for any of this stuff?" And I was like, "Well, no." I was like, I'm fine. I'm a little mentally fucked up, but I got all my fingers and toes and everything. He's like, "You need to get your ass into the VA and sign up for disability. This is owed to you. You're not taking it away from anybody else. You are not comparing your story to anybody else. As my therapist always says, this is your story, not anybody else's." So, we're bringing someone on to help you guys with disability ratings and all that nightmare of a paperwork. But even though it's kind of a nightmare, there are organizations that can help you with that. And even though it may take a long freaking time, it's worth the fight, because from the day that you put your claim in, you'll get back pay. Let me tell you, after a year or more, that back pay adds up, and it's a pretty big freaking check, and you all deserve it for serving at it. Even if you didn't serve in combat, you guys are working around very dangerous stuff. We're all messed up, backs, knees, ears. Go get checked out because that stuff is due to you. Awesome, Jeff. Thank you so much for sharing that. We really, really appreciate it. Oh, let me read this because I need this. Your RV, you can wrap electrical tape around the legs and put them back in the holes. Oh, will that stabilize it? Okay, I'm going to try that. I'm actually moving out of this RV, hopefully in the next couple of months, going to this ranch and being on staff at the ranch for a couple months and living there. But yeah, I'm going to try that because that table is driving me crazy. Wow. Okay, so Dean says my back pay was like $67,000. There you go. My back pay for my first time was 13. The next one was 8. It helps. Every little bit helps, and it's owed to us. And I keep telling all these people, a lot of counties have veteran service. Yes, they do. A lot of business centers have their own veteran liaisons there to help you get jobs. Even if they can't help you get a job, if you want to go to school, there's another program besides 9/11 called vocational rehabilitation. You only have to have 10% disability to get it, and they will put you all the way up to a PhD or MD if you want to. If you say, you go in there and you'd be like, "I want to be a medical doctor," you get onto that program, they'll pay more than 9/11 actually. They pay for everything you can possibly think of to get you through school, and then they will help you get a job after. Even if you decide not to go through the education, they have all kinds of workshops explaining how to apply for a government job on USA Jobs, because that is a freaking nightmare in itself. It's basically a game that you have to learn to play. They give you workshops on that. They do resume workshops. They give you mock interviews, which I'm telling you what, their mock interviews will kick your ass over any other real interview, because they did. And I even had friends on the board. Dental insurance. Okay, so dental insurance is not something that vets get unless you're 100%. So that is a huge thing for me. Florida's for Warriors here just got a new dentist to come on and offer free care to veterans in certain counties. So that is a really big one, which there's so much health that goes into your teeth. Why they wouldn't treat your dental to prevent a lot of other stuff from happening, not very logical, but that's the government. Dean, 5 years went from 60 to 100, paid all my bills, bought my camper, invested the rest. Yeah. So it's funny because it always kind of came at the time that I needed it. And it came this last time, right at the time that I was getting ready to sell my house. And I didn't have the money to pay for the repairs. And the realtor told me, if you don't get these repairs done, this is a difference between like, I don't know, $50,000 on listing price. And I was like, shit, how am I going to pay for this? Voila, my back pay showed up. That paid for it. And so I was able to list my house for $50,000 more than before. Oh, they are good. Good. They're passing a new act for dental. Good. It's logical. I mean, I have these conversations with people all the time that if they put money into this, they wouldn't have to pay so much money into this. And they just never ever seem to connect those things. Or if they do, it takes years and years to get past. I'm really glad to see that. Because, dental is very important to your overall health. Rapid retraining. What act is that? Do you know, Jeff? What act did that fall under? And do you know when the dental will be available for vets to do? The only thing is trying to get a damn appointment. Once they do it, trying to get an appointment, oh my Lord, especially since they started outsourcing it, it's a nightmare to try to get an appointment. It does. TMJ is covered as a medical condition and you don't have to be 100%. Yeah, actually, thank you for reminding me. I have a guest that I need to bring on. I forgot to contact him. Somebody sent me information about this guy that had invented this thing for TMJ. I can't remember what it is, but it's this device that he created and it makes it go away. So I was actually going to bring him on the show so he could talk about the design. So people, if they wanted to buy it, could, because it's been proven very effective in treating TMJ. And I can't imagine having that. It would drive me insane. Hey, hello, Raymond. How's it going? Voc Rehab was great. Got degrees, electronics and instrumentation through them, paid all schooling materials, gave a stipend for food. Oh, wow, you got a food allowance. I didn't get that one, but that was good. Well, when I was in Voc Rehab, they took away a year of my GI Bill, and I was pissed. They had changed it like 3 times in a year. Well, guess what? I have this thing back in 2012. I read this book called The Secret. If anybody's ever heard of it, basically what it boils down to is physics, and positive attracts positive, negative attracts negative. After I read that book and I was going through cognitive behavioral therapy at the time, changing negative thoughts to positive thoughts, and I started incorporating that in my life, money just shows up. It just shows up all over the place in various forms. Well, they took away my GI Bill about 5 years ago when I used Voc Rehab because they told me I could only cap out at 48 months. So maybe 4 months ago or so, I have a year left of graduate school. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it all. All of a sudden, I get a letter saying I got my GI Bill back. And almost down to the dollar, that GI Bill that I got back will pay for the rest of my grad school. So I get lots of back pay from the government. Like, they'll be like, oh, well, we audited this. Or a credit card company from when I was deployed 10 years ago will be like, we didn't give you a low enough interest rate while you were deployed. They've paid me like 3 or 4 times now. And so I just get all this money. One day I got 4 checks. One of them it went up anywhere from $12 up to like $375. Money it just shows up when I need it. And ever since I read that book, and ever since I started changing my thought processes, like, I may not be a wealthy person, but I always have money when I need it, like always. So I've never really worried about it. And just, I know that I'll always have enough. So this new bill for dental care for vets was signed. Day phase down 60, then 30%, then 0, hopefully through VA or community. And hopefully they have a plan for getting vets appointments in a timely freaking manner. Because I'm about over this waiting for months and months to get approval to go outside, and then a couple more months to get the actual outside source for care to give you a phone call. I can imagine TMG. Shit, I don't even want to think about it. That and I always say it wrong. Tetanitis in your ears. I know a lot of people that have that. That would drive me insane too. You got Linda. Drinking is fine. Having some wine tonight. But don't always have to drink alcohol. You can drink coffee on here too. Water, whatever juice. We're all good with it. Yes, you do manifest your reality. And that's something also, as a yoga teacher I've learned too, is that you manifest stuff. That's what prayer is really about, right? You're manifesting what your desires are, what your wants, what your needs are. And they may not always be delivered in a grand scheme, but they can still be delivered in a way that's going to help you survive and have a good life. Yes, that's it. I know lots of people with that. They tell me what it's like. I don't know if I could deal with it. I just feel like I would just go crazy with that constantly going in my ear. I get riled up, just in the RV park, hearing people next to me. I can hear their conversations or coughing or whatever. Like, that drives me nuts. I'm a kind of a quiet person, actually. And I know I talk a lot on here, but even when I'm driving, I've been driving everywhere. I'll drive for like 6 hours in silence. And I'm great with it. Like, people are like, oh, don't you get lonely? Or don't you want to like put a audiobook on or something? And occasionally I do. But I'm actually pretty cool with silence. So having that condition, I commend anybody with it, because you are dealing with it a lot better than I ever would. Here's inveterate. Gosh, I tell you, I don't even know what causes that. Is it like internal ear damage that causes it? Is it like a rupture in the eardrum? Like, what keeps that sound going, and why can't they fix it? And I don't even know if hearing aids can fix that, can it? Or would that amplify the noise, I wonder? Hearing aids at the VA are actually pretty cool now. My ex got them. He was pretty young when he got them too. But you couldn't even see them. They were like completely invisible. And they were like, he lost one like the very first month he had them. And he went back and they're like, those are like $10,000 a piece. And he's like, what the hell? Low DHA. What is low DHA? I'm not familiar with that. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, that's a cute little dog you got there, Raymond. Little Chihuahua. Chihuahuas don't mess around, man. They scare my dogs. My dogs are big too, and they see a Chihuahua and they get really, really nervous. So, talking about tinnitus, the way it was explained to me was it's nerve damage to the nerves in your ear. Oh, that makes sense that they can't fix it then. Huh. It seems like a lot of veterans have that too. I don't know if it's like working around the equipment or if it's from explosions or what, but I've heard tons of veterans say that they have that. And it's too bad that they don't have a way to fix it. God, that just sucks. So I was asking again, Marie, Jeanette, what is low DAH? Explain it to me. Contributors to tinnitus. Ah, I see. Gotcha. It's just a constant loud noise. Yeah, I was in a squadron for a very short amount of time. I wasn't around the planes a whole lot. I flew on them and stuff like that. I can't imagine flying on those all the time. And I was really short. So I remember my favorite question is, huh? Yeah, I say, huh, all the time too. And I don't even have it. I'm just getting old. But I remember when I used to have to get picked up in Bozeman, Montana, because I was in Wyoming. I had to take a plane up there and catch it out of there at P3. You all know how old those P3s are. They're from like the 60s, the sub hunters. And so we would fly from Bozeman. They were just doing basically training from Bozeman back to Whidbey Island in Washington. And they are fixed wing aircraft. So it's not like being on a commercial jetliner where it evens out the turbulence. When you get hit with turbulence, you get thrown up against the side of the plane if you're not strapped in, which there weren't a whole lot of seats. There were some seatbelts on the floor, but that was about it. So what I did, I got on the plane, and the very first thing is, I don't know why, I always have to go to the damn bathroom when I get on one of those planes, every freaking time. And so there was no bathroom, no usable bathroom, so they handed me a bag. Another time I was on a plane in Afghanistan, I had to go to the bathroom. There was a toilet out in the middle of the plane in front of everybody, and I had no choice but to go in front of everybody. It sucked. But one of the things I'm flying on a fixed-wing aircraft is they had this pole going from fore to aft to hold on to so that you didn't get thrown up against the side of the airplane. But I was so short, I couldn't reach the damn pole. So I had to make a run for it. If I needed to get up to the front, to the cockpit, from the back. And a lot of times I didn't make it before we hit turbulence. And because I couldn't reach that pole, I would just get thrown up against the side of that plane. I was so black and blue one time. By the time that we landed, I was like, man, I don't want to do that for a very long time after that. Prowler country. Yep, I was at Whidbey. Man, they got some more squadrons coming in there. My son lives there right now, and his dad has worked at those squadrons for 20 years now. I know they brought some F-18 squadrons in. My son said they're bringing in even more, which that's a little island anyway. I really don't know how they're going to fit. And actually, I was just there 3 months ago. A lot of the forest that is there is now gone on the island because they've made it into housing, or they've expanded the base or whatever to accommodate all these new squadrons coming in. So how they get away with that, with all the eagles and stuff there, I'm not really sure, but they're expanding it out more and more and more and more. And I wish that they would kind of take it to the mainland more, that they expanded those squadrons out, but it is a good location for them to take off. They just did the prowlers with E-ATs. Thank you, Thank you, Raymond. You have a great night too. Yeah, those are pretty cool planes too. I got my aviation warfare pen when I was in VP 69. And initially, I had always wanted to be a pilot when going into the military. Ever since I saw Top Gun, I wanted to be Tom Cruise. Not date him, I wanted to be him. And my eyesight wasn't great. And, as time went along, I had kids young, and I ended up marrying someone in the military, but never lost the desire to join the military. And I actually almost went in as an aviation officer and decided to go a different route, went intel. But one of my goals, by the time I'm 50, I want to at least have started my pilot's license to fly helos. I don't really want to fly planes anymore. I want to fly helos. I don't know why. I've just always wanted to do that. Love to have my own helicopter and just fly wherever the hell I want to fly. But you guys, it's getting to 9 o'clock. And it's been a great conversation. Thank you guys. We had a lot of people join on, this 8 o'clock time slot. So I guess it was a good thing that we moved it up so more people could join. So next week we have a guest coming on. It's a really cool guest, actually, for a veteran program that some of you may be interested in. We're going to be talking to a guy that just went through a program that the VA paid for to become a drone pilot. So if any guys are interested in becoming a drone pilot, tune in next week. You can ask this guy any questions. He just got finished with his qualifications. And other than that, I'll be on the road again, probably to Columbus. So I'll probably be live from Columbus next week. But hope you guys have a great night. I'm going to go catch some shut-eye because I've been up since very early this morning. And I wish you all a great night. And again, as always, if you drink, come drink one with us here at Vet Radio Syndicate. Have a great night.